Peru needs to reduce and eventually eliminate strife between the military and leftist rebels, strife which stems from high rates of drug trafficking within the rebel groups. The two major leftist rebel groups which have hindered Peru's progress in the last several decades are Tupac Amaru and the Shining Path. The Shining Path began in the late 1960s as a small communist revolutionary group led by a philosophy professor named Abimael Guzman. Shining Path funded many of its operations through the narco-trafficking of cocaine. His followers adopted violent guerrilla terrorist tactics in their effort to destabilize and overthrow the Peruvian government. The main goal of Shining Path has always been to overthrow the existing Peruvian government and political institutions and replace them with the Communist Revolutionary Command. The Tupac Amaru revolutionary movement, which is Marxist, was founded to rid Peru of all imperialist elements and supported many of the communist principles that led to Cuban Revolution. The rebel group's primary goal was to reform the Peruvian government and create a society in which ownership of property was shared and everyone enjoyed similar levels of prosperity. Shining Path's strategy, which was Maoist, was to use violence to bring down Peru's democratic government, disrupt the economy, destroy the state's reputation among the peasantry, and ultimately ruin its reputation among the population in general. The group often hacked its victims to death with machetes to save ammunition. The Shining Path attacks killed as many as 11,000 civilians, though it estimates as many as 70,000 people were killed overall in fighting between the Peruvian government and the Shining Path. As military offensives in Colombia have taken a toll on the operations of the FARC guerrilla movement, coca production has in many cases shifted to Peru. On September 12, 1992, Abimael Guzman, the head of Shining Path, was captured and imprisoned, destroying the group's chain of command. Peruvian officials suspect that the remnant of the Maoist Shining Path have returned to cocaine production to fund their operations, which includes their campaign to overthrow the Peruvian government. Shining Path has easily gained ground in the country due to indifference or outright apathy on the part of the peasantry. The cocoa farmers' movement was radicalized in the face of eradication efforts. Eradication is complicated because coca is very important in the Andean culture. Since the time of the Incas, Peruvians used it to alleviate hunger and fatigue, for both medicinal purposes and in religious rituals. The United States supports law enforcement efforts to establish an alternative for cocoa farmers to reduce and ultimately eliminate